A reactive model would be, here's the SOP, make it work. You do it. I don't care if there's any problems with it. I don't care if you do it a different way. You make it work. Reactive would also be if someone came to you and said, hey, this is a mission critical issue we've encountered and it has to change. And you said, well, okay, then I'm gonna go figure out what that is and I'll get back to you and let you know. Right? You're doing the proactive thing. You're empowering people, the frontline people who are doing that work, who know that work the best and probably do have the best ideas, probably better than yours, right? You're empowering them to say that. Again, open and honest communication. That's proactivity in practice. And I love it. I wish more companies did it, because ultimately what it does, bringing it back to the individual, that mental health piece, it's where they derive their value, right? Am I trusted? Am I valued? Well, if I'm never asked what my opinion is or what my recommendations are, how valued do you think I'm going to feel?
Right.
So I love to hear that you're doing that. And that may or may not have been your intent, but I think one of the great outcomes you're going to see in terms of your culture is you're going to have people who do feel valued. And that's just immense.
TJ, I feel like we've been pretty selfish with your time here. And I know you're just getting your gig off the ground here. So do you want to take some time to kind of explain where you're at, what you're doing, and like what's coming up next for you or what you're working on? Maybe we'll be able to help, but if not, this episode is going to go out to a bunch of other people and, ways that they can reach out to you, get connected with you. Like, just talk to us about what you're up to now.
Sure. Well, as I said, we're a brand new startup. I mean, we're so like infant in terms of a business that, we're writing a business plan, working on vision and mission statement, all the stuff that you do, right, when you start a business. I think one of our biggest challenges is product development. Like, what is our product? Because a lot of it's just like, it's up here. It's this thought stuff. It's the way of thinking and being that we're trying to promote, getting people to understand like what we're even talking about. Because you've heard of employee assistance programs like EAPs. A lot of companies will hire in an EAP provider to come in and have some type of mental health resources for folks if they're struggling. And it says, okay, you're not doing well, go see a therapist, do 12 sessions and come back and magically everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think our product, if we have one, is kind of trying to flip that on its head and say, actually, the workplace is a great place for that person to start working on improvement in terms of their mental health outcomes. Again, because it's such an impactful system in their lives, it's where they derive their value, identity, purpose, and meaning and all that. How do we sell that? Right? Like it's kind of an abstraction.
Yeah.
It's a tangible widget that we can hold and say, hey, here's this fancy snake oil or whatever. So I think one of the things we're struggling with just as a company is just finding that direction in terms of how do we explain what we're doing to people to create that value proposition that's going to get them to say, yeah, I want to learn more. I want to engage with that. I think I want to try to bring some of this into my organization. All the other stuff I said we're working on, that stuff will come, right? The next couple of months are going to be just a firestorm of us getting websites up and social media content out and all that. When we get to that critical moment when someone says, well, what are you even offering? Maybe you guys have some insights on how we could describe that, based on what we've talked about today. Here's what I have. I'll tell you what we have. We're kind of telling people, hey, ultimately what we're selling is this idea that we as human beings need each other, and we can be more open and willing to change because that's what's needed. Anytime there's a problem, it's a problem-solving thing. Change is the solution to most problems. And it's the hardest thing for humans to do, right? Humans are really good at taking dissonance and just shoving it away, right? We have two competing ideas in our head. One belief that I have a new piece of information that butts up against that belief. I'm going to ignore that new information because it doesn't reinforce this belief I have, whether it's about myself, my job, or whatever. How do we package that and sell it?
Go ahead.
I mean, you are a generation, you're Gen 2 of EAP, right? You are taking EAP and like you said, flipping it on its head. You are the guys that, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? And what you are selling, you're a consultant. You're a high-end consulting company that's turning EAP upside down, and you are not waiting to reacting to mental health problems. You're creating the system of which people's mental health improves and thrives, right? And of course, that's going to have impacts on all the KPIs throughout an organization. Now, they could learn the hard way. And hey, some of us have to learn the hard way. Some of us, including me,